Hello gamers, my name is BeardedGamerDrew and welcome to my channel, a place where you will find all things gaming all the time. Today we will be discussing the big news coming out of Nintendo, and that news is a brand new Direct set for tomorrow, Wednesday, September 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. Alongside me today is a good friend of mine known as the Shining Olgamoth.
Hello everyone, how's it going?
And how are you doing, my moth friend? You're doing pretty well?
I'm doing fantastic and mothy. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's Direct. How are you doing?
I gotta say, maybe not mothy, but I'm doing pretty darn good. All right, now beginning today, we're going to be discussing predictions going on, and how should we start this? What do you think? What when the Nintendo Direct comes out tomorrow, what do you feel like is going to be the very first thing that they show?
Well, I think the natural start to any Direct, of course, is always going to be Smash Bros., right?
Yeah.
So we're probably looking at either Banjo or maybe the reveal of a brand new Smash character. And then maybe afterwards we might get some more information on Banjo himself because we already know about him.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, like I think you're on point as far as the Banjo thing. I think as soon as the Direct happens, I think we're going to learn more information on Banjo. We're going to learn more about his moveset, more in-depth analysis, sort of like they have done with characters in the past. Now, another thing they might end up doing, and I don't know exactly if they're going to do this in the beginning or towards the end. My bet is leaning more towards the end, is going to be a new Smash reveal, and I'm going to throw this one out there. I'm just going to say it's Crash Bandicoot. I know people are saying that Crash is probably going to be the fifth and final DLC, but what if they throw a little nice surprise here and say Crash Bandicoot's actually going to be coming right now? I know they had those leaks coming out where it says otherwise, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think, who do you expect to actually see join the new roster?
Well, I definitely subscribe to the opinion of Crash eventually getting into Smash, but probably more as the fifth DLC fighter. I actually think the rumors are probably true, but again, you can never be sure about that sort of thing. So I'm sort of waiting and seeing, but I do definitely feel like we're going to get a new Smash character tomorrow, pretty likely.
Yeah, I think that's something that we can both agree to. Is the just a new Smash character. I think that's almost set in stone. I'd actually be surprised if we didn't get one tomorrow. Okay, but other than that, other than the obvious, I think we can kind of move on to.
How about the most important one of all?
Yeah.
Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game. Finally, I get to live my dreams as a goose. As a goose. Disrupt farmers and things like that. Get farmers wet. I mean, okay, pause. So, moving forward. Untitled Goose Game. I think they're gonna definitely talk about this month's arrivals, and I think that's pretty natural. You're gonna talk about games like Untitled Goose Game, Link's Awakening. There's not really too much to talk about that other than they're coming out this month. They're going to be great games, great titles, and in fact, later on, viewers, I'm actually going to be putting out a video on my favorite September games coming out this month to the Switch. So look forward to that in the coming, I'd say maybe about a week or so. But what do you think, like, other than, we got Untitled Goose Game coming out, Link's Awakening, Ni no Kuni coming out. I think that's pretty much, the Direct's going to focus on that for a little bit, but then we're going to move on. What do you think's going to happen after that? Do you think...
Well, before we move on to that too much, I think as part of the whole thing with Untitled Goose Game and Link's Awakening, I think it's going to be one of those sort of compilations where they start off and they go just a minute, a few seconds, or maybe a minute for each game, and they show a lot of JRPGs and things like that. Nintendo has this tendency to every single Direct show a lot of those sorts of more niche games, and then I think they'll move on from there.
Perhaps is it a Nintendency?
Oh, man.
You like what I said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can understand if you guys unsubscribe. But all right, yeah. No, I think that's pretty. I think that's a pretty safe bet to assume that they show their indie games, they show all the other showcases of what's coming out, and kind of leave fans come on, show me the next thing. This is cool, but I really want to see the next big thing. So that next big thing is going to be a game that we have seen quite a lot of, but still there could be a little bit more information on. And that game is going to be Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, this game is a game I am stoked for. I mean, I remember playing the original Luigi's Mansion, and oh my gosh, the just the nostalgia. Do you think Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to capture that? And not just that, what do you expect to see from Luigi's Mansion 3 in this direct?
Well, I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be kind of its own thing. Like, as much as I grew up with Luigi's Mansion 1 and loved that game and played it over and over and over again, I think that Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to kind of give you that feeling all over again in a new way. It's not really going to feel like the old one, but it's going to have a feel to it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like it's a little more whimsical. It doesn't seem as scary, as frightening. And to me, I like the scary vibes of the original Luigi's Mansion. But I gotta say this, the new vibe of Luigi's Mansion 3 looks...
it's really grown on me.
It's really grown on me, too. And the visuals are stunning. Can we talk about that? Like, that's absolutely beautiful. Not to go too in depth, but I mean
the denim. Look at Luigi's denim.
His denim. The fine details. Oh man. So I'm really looking forward to this game, but I don't know if we're gonna really learn too much more information. Maybe they'll show another boss fight or maybe another level. But honestly, I don't really want to see much from this game because I don't want to be spoiled. I'm just looking for maybe one or maybe two more. I see them doing one more boss fight. And who knows, maybe they come out with a new, hey, we're doing this, maybe you can play as Mario or Toad or eventually. And I'm not looking, I'm not expecting it, but that would be a nice surprise.
Maybe like a post-game or something.
Maybe like a post-game, yeah. So, yeah, with Luigi's Mansion 3, I don't think we will see too much out of that, but I don't know. What are your other hopes for this direct tomorrow?
Well, I think moving on to something that we had sort of talked about earlier, out of video, of course, is Metroid Prime 4. Yeah. Now, of course, Nintendo sort of hit the big red button earlier this year and sort of broke everyone's hearts, but understandably so, and I'm glad they did. I think they really needed to, and it makes me even more excited for this game, knowing that they're willing to start all over again to make sure that they put out the most high-quality product possible.
And honestly, that's why I'm such a huge Nintendo fan. That's why I honestly almost strictly deal with Nintendo, because they care about their fans. They, was it annoying at first to hear that there was a delay? Sure, but I'd rather have a finished product than to put out, a half-product game that doesn't really, doesn't bring the vibe, that doesn't live up to expectations. And Metroid 4 hopefully can do that, but again, I don't know. That's one of the hopes that I hope to actually see Metroid 4. I hope to actually see Metroid 4 in this direct. That's a big hope of mine. I don't know if we're going to get it, but man, if we get that, that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see that release date as well.
Yeah, the only Metroid that I've ever actually played was Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. So I'm really excited because, especially after seeing some of my other friends back in the day play Metroid Prime, and it looked like a great game, it's really going to be great to see a new HD Metroid Prime that's going to be. I'm very excited.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, moving on to something a little more different than Nintendo games, we're actually going to be moving on to a game that you really feel like they are going to port to the Switch. You want to talk about that game?
Oh, of course. Well, so I think we all remember from earlier this year, Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster came out for the PS4 and the Switch. Now, the Switch version wasn't exactly the most stable, maybe had some frame rate hiccups and whatnot, but I think it was more important what it showed, and it showed that Ubisoft is willing to port relatively new modern Assassin's Creeds onto their consoles. And Assassin's Creed 4, for me, is one of my favorite games of this entire generation. Now, it's a cross-gen game, so it's not exactly this generation, but, kind of. So, I just know that I got hundreds of hours out of this game just sailing around the Caribbean Ocean and just having a great time with that. So, I think along with the rumor that has just come out over the past couple days about probably that port happening, I think that it just makes perfect sense. It's too easy to not happen.
Yeah, and and honestly, like growing up, I wasn't always a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Like I always respected the games, but Black Flag for me was one of those games that was just amazing. Like you said, you're traversing the waters on your ship and you're singing jolly old good fun. Like honestly, like it was just such a clean look for the time, and I can't wait. Like if that's true and that is being ported to Switch, we're in for a fun time because that's going to look beautiful on the Switch. I think that's going to look very beautiful on the Switch. No, not as good as as you would see on perhaps Xbox One or PS4, but it's still going to look beautiful. And why not? I mean, we're getting The Witcher 3. Why can't we get Assassin's Creed Black Flag? So, moving forward to that, moving on from that, we're going to be talking about something that is a huge deal with both me and Olga Moth here, my mothy friend. I bet you're frothing at the mouth right now.
I'm frothing at the moth for this.
Right now, we are talking about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield coming out, and they're going to be talking about this in the Direct. They made it a point. There were 2 games they made it a point to talk about, and that was Luigi's Mansion 3 and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, what do you expect to see from Pokemon Sword and Shield?
Well, I think first of all, I think we're going to see the starters middle evolutions. I think they've surprisingly held off on showing us their evolutions up to this point, so I just think it has to happen.
And thankfully so. Honestly, I remember when Pokemon Sun and Moon were coming out and the leaks that were coming out at the time. Like, I remember it was actually a few weeks after the starters were revealed on May 10th, I believe it was, that we got the actual leaks from the starters' final evolutions. And at the time, nobody really thought they were real until, lo and behold, they ended up becoming true. I'm glad Pokemon has taken a different approach this time. There's no signs of any demos, and please don't give us a demo. I don't want anything data mined, but I'm really looking forward to this Direct pretty much specifically for Pokemon Sword and Shield because I'm so excited about these games. Like I talked about in my last video, you got the introduction of Galar forms, and I'm expecting to see another Galar form.
Oh, me too, for sure.
I don't know. I don't know who's gonna get it, but I'm just hopeful for just more non-Gen 1 Galar forms. That's one thing. Like, yeah, it's awesome that Weezing got it, and I was so hyped when Lanoon and Zigzagoon got it. And then to have their evolution, Obstagoon, like, that's amazing. I want more things like that. So I'm kind of expecting more of the same. Galar forms, evolutions to old Pokemon, and more information on certain towns. We don't know any town names, and that's actually shocking. I'm pretty sure we knew town names back when Sun and Moon were coming out, right? Did we?
I think
so.
I
don't know. I think we knew at least
one, maybe.
At least one. Yeah, at least one. But yeah, I think, you talk about the middle evolutions. I think that's a good probability. I don't know if we're going to be seeing final evolutions. I kind of don't want to see them, but I do want to see them at the same time.
I wouldn't really bet on it either, no.
I wouldn't bet on it, but honestly, like, it is something that, look, if we do happen to find out the new evolutions, the final evolutions, cool. But you know what? I'm not putting my money on that, and I don't know. I'm just really excited for these games.
Yeah, and of course, and I think if we're looking at Galar forms, I think one Pokemon that really needs it is, of course, Dunsparce.
I think
he would make a great Alolan form.
Yeah.
Galarian form.
Galarian form, yeah. And calm down there, kid.
And then I think an evolution form as well, much like Lanoon and Obstagoon.
Oh, and let's not forget Farfetch'd. I mean, I really want to see if Farfetch'd is going to get that evolution.
There are a lot of rumors.
I'm hopeful. Okay, moving on from Pokemon Sword and Shield, we're going to be talking about a potential Mario Maker 2 DLC.
I think that's got to happen. It has to.
It's got to happen. But what do you think's going to be there? Are there going to be game styles?
I think it's pretty easy for me for how I feel about this. I think we get the Mario 2 style with all the grabbing mechanics.
Yes.
I think that's tailor made for it because it's 2D. It's easy. You don't have to make a bunch of new 3D models. I think it's simple and easy. and that's all they have to do, and boom, now Nintendo gets to put out a $10, $15 DLC. There you go.
Take my money, Nintendo. It's Mario Maker 2, so you better have Super Mario Brothers 2 as a style 2.
Exactly.
Okay, that was corny. But what other DLCs do you think would be with Mario Maker 2? Do you think anything else, like any items or anything, or maybe not? Maybe
I'm hopeful. If there's any one item that gets added, I hope it is those sort of signboard boxes from, I believe, Super Mario World, where you hit it and then it brings up an entire message from the creator, so that way you can give instructions.
That would be amazing.
I think that would be amazing, because I've tried to make levels like that before where I give players instructions, and it's just a little difficult to do right now.
And I don't think anybody's really talked about that, so that's a very unique perspective there. That would give creators some really fun things to say, some really trollish things to say too. I can imagine that, because we got that, on the background where you're where people will write out in coins certain things, but now you would be able to have whatever you want to tell that player. You control them too. Say, hey, go up this place and go die in this pit, not knowing.
And to one up even that. I think if they extended the time limit from 500 to 1,000, I would love that. I would.
And that's an issue I've been having, because look, I'm not the best Mario Maker player. I'll be the first to admit I'm not a Kaizo guy. I like to do somewhat hard levels, but I'm not one of those guys that's going to do Kaizo levels all day. But one thing that I've been wanting is the time to be extended on these, because it gives creators more to work with more time. Like give us more time. But other than that, Mario Maker 2, you're doing fantastic. Keep up the great work. We're just hopeful. We're grateful, and we're just hopeful for more DLC. I think we're going to get it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy. I mean, we just love this game, and we just want to see more from it.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of Mario games, the grand finale. Super Mario Sunshine Remake. Is it a thing? Could this happen?
Well, I mean, have you seen Mario's toes in that watermelon? I think that's pretty obvious right there.
His toes and his hands, they were so uncomfortable and nubby, and I just wanted to, for some reason, hold him. I don't know why. Is that wrong?
Well, if it's wrong, I don't want to be right.
If it's wrong, I don't want to be right. Super Mario Sunshine Remake would be fantastic.
Or at least Odyssey 2 with a tropical theme to it or something like that.
Oh, come on now. I don't see that happening. I do want that to happen. I don't see that happening yet. But honestly, Nintendo surprises us all the time. So all bets are always off. You never know what Nintendo's doing. But dude, I'm telling you, Super Mario, if they Sunshine Remake, or what if a sequel? What if they do a sequel, if they do a full-blown sequel? No, I'm not talking Galaxy 2. Look, those are good games in their own right. We're talking about Sunshine. Sunshine deserves the spotlight. They deserve the sunshine, perhaps?
And now, I like it. And with EGAD coming back now for Luigi's Mansion 3, it's the perfect time.
Exactly, because in those who aren't aware, I don't know how you want to be aware, but EGAD also made Mario's thingamajig.
The Flood. Yeah,
the Flood.
Yeah.
The Flood. I am Flood. So, yeah, honestly, Super Mario Sunshine Remake would be fantastic. And I don't know if it's going to happen. I really want it to happen. Nintendo seemed to really point that out. They made it a point, for some reason, to have Mario have a watermelon. I don't want to go too in depth about that, because, yeah, sure, it's summer, but I don't know, I feel like...
Would you say perhaps it's watermelon game?
Yeah. I don't know if I would say that, because you said it, but I don't know. I'm just... So
I think moving on to final thoughts, there is one sort of thing that we haven't talked about yet, and that is Pikmin 4.
Oh.
I'm with Arlo on this one. I think Pikmin 4 is finally going to happen, and I'm going to go one further. He said it on Twitter just like yesterday, I believe.
Oh yeah,
or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go one further and say that they also released Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 for the Switch over the next year to year and a half.
Wow. Now, do you think they're going to bundle it all in one game, or no? They're going to probably keep their separate games.
I think they bundle Pikmin 1 and 2 together.
Okay.
Since they're both GameCube games, it's sort of easy to package them together.
Right.
And then Pikmin 3 all on its own.
I like that idea. And man, that's something... How did we forget Pikmin? I guess it's been so long. It's been so long that,
I don't know about you, but I was just leaving it until the end.
That's true. But man, Pikmin 4 would be fantastic. I think at the very least we will get Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 at least ported. But Pikmin 4 is just wow. I don't know. That would be fantastic. What are you looking forward to if we do get a reveal for Pikmin 4? Like, what type of features? Are you just expecting more of the same? Or
I think I'm really looking for it to feel like Pikmin 2. Pikmin 3 was great, but I felt like one thing it was lacking were some very unique items that Pikmin 2 had, like the treasure items. You'd find bottle caps and Duracell batteries and things that were actually name brand, just lying out in the world. And it built the world up to feel like, oh, this is really just Earth, but we're coming back sort of post-apocalyptic and we're miniature. So I think if they did something more like that, and really I'm just excited for the world. The one thing that Pikmin has always done a great job of is making this relaxing, beautiful, realistic looking world, surprisingly for a Nintendo game. It's very realistic and relaxing, and I just want to see more of that.
And relaxing music too. Oh, you got me turned on to the music. I gotta say, and I was never like a Pikmin fan growing up, but honestly, if Pikmin 4 were introduced, or even Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 were ported to the Switch, I'm definitely gonna pick that up.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
You did that.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know how you guys are subscribed to me. But yeah, I think that's just about everything that we can really think about this Direct.
Otherwise, we're just really excited for this to finally happen. It's felt like a long way just from summer, from that E3. Yeah. Finally, just a 40-minute Direct. 40
minutes. And that's one thing we didn't mention earlier. A 40-minute Direct, that's big. Whenever they have 40-minute Directs, there are at least one or two huge announcements. So, honestly, gamers look forward to it. And yeah, I think that's about all we got to say today. So, gamers, thank you very much for joining me here on BeardedGamerDrew. And if you like what you heard from both me and Olgamoth, please like and subscribe. And thanks once again, to my good friend, the Shining Olgamoth. He's very mothy, very frothy.
Of course, and check out my channel, of course, at Shining Olgamoth. And yeah, I'm just really excited for this to finally happen.
And thanks once again, Olgamoth. And thank you to all the viewers out there. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the Direct.